What if your favorite childhood toy was alive? What if it wasn't as friendly as you first thought? As you explore an abandoned toy factory in Poppy Playtime, the products of its past stalk you in the dark. Poppy Playtime is a wildly popular horror puzzle game developed by Mob Games. The game has surrounded itself with several controversies due to the actions of its developers, but provides a terrifying visual experience and fascinating gameplay. Currently, Poppy Playtime has released 2 chapters. Each deals with a main antagonist or monster and progresses the storyline. In Chapter 1, A Tight Squeeze, this is Huggy Wuggy. He is a tall, blue-furred doll who chases you around the beginning sections of the factory. Chapter 2, Fly in a Web, features Mommy Longlegs. She is a pink spider-like toy that can stretch her limbs and plays with the protagonist in a variety of games. The game begins with the unnamed, voiceless protagonist entering Playtime Co. Toy Factory. When and why this happens is unclear at first, but the building seems long abandoned by this point in time. VHS tapes containing commercials and interviews give some context about the timeline of this game. It appears that Playtime Co. operated in the mid to late 20th century. One of these VHSs implies that a group of scientists are still within the factory. The organic toys that they have created have trapped them within. This seems to be the main reason for the player to have entered the factory to begin with. As the player wanders the factory, they alert various toys that seek to protect their home by killing the player. The first of these is Huggy Wuggy, the mascot of Playtime Co. He lumbers after the player and chases them around as they seek Poppy Playtime. Poppy currently resides in a locked case deeper in the factory. She was the first toy and namesake of Playtime Co. Poppy seems to hold some special purpose to the player and their reasons for entering this dangerous, abandoned factory. When the player frees Poppy, she offers to help the player escape. She speaks of a train in the game station that can lead the player out of the factory. Yet, when they arrive at the station, Mommy Longlegs kidnaps Poppy. She forces the player to earn the code to run the train by playing several deadly children's games. Upon defeating Mommy and gaining the code, the players reunite with Poppy, who has taken on a colder, more sadistic personality. Instead of leading the player out of the factory, she has the train go deeper in. Poppy then tells the player that they can solve the problems within and set things right. The train then derails, leaving the player at the Playcare for Chapter 3. To end each chapter, the player defeats the antagonist in a somewhat gruesome way. These giant toys bleed, lending to the knowledge that they are in fact living creatures. Huggy Wuggy leaves a large blood splatter as he hits his head against a metal pipeline, though death is not confirmed. With Mommy Longlegs' death, the game introduces a new antagonist. Known as the Prototype, this creature has only appeared as a spindly arm dragging Mommy's corpse away. Some knowledge of the inner machinations of these organic toys is still imparted from this small glimpse. We see a tangle of wires as well as a human-looking arm bone that acts as a support for the machinery. Fans theorize the Prototype to be the main villain of the game. The game has told us little about the true form or identity of this monster so far. What we do know is that it managed to escape from the scientists. It's very intelligent, constructing its own tools to disable cameras and machinery. It seems to collect parts from the fallen organic toys that the player defeats. Mommy's final words suggest as much. He'll make me part of him. Through in-game documents, videos, and out-of-game lore drops, the dark past of Playtime Co. has been revealed in part. The scientists seem to have made the organic toys of, or with, human test subjects. Mommy Longlegs, for example, was a woman by the name of Marie Payne, as listed on a transfer request document found in the game. The game has not revealed all the test subjects for the organic toys so far. The experiment numbers assigned to each toy suggest the Prototype may have been the first successful organic toy. Throughout the game, the player receives instructions and backstory via brightly colored VHS tapes. These show up in areas alongside matching VHS players and TVs to alert the player that there is a tape in the vicinity. The exception to this is at the beginning of the game, where a tape plays as the introduction. This tape, referred to as the most incredible doll on the Mob Games YouTube channel, advertises Poppy, the chief creation from Playtime Co. It also introduces the setting of the game, the Playtime Co. factory. Early on, the player discovers an invention in the Innovation Wing. This object, the Grab Pack, allows the player to open doors and solve puzzles throughout the game. It comes with 2 hands, one red and one blue, that can activate doors with the right colored handprint. They can also grab and pull objects as well as carry an electrical charge. In Chapter 2, Mommy Longlegs steals the red hand, leaving the player to find a replacement. This takes the form of a green hand which can store an electrical charge for a small time, allowing the player to move around and activate electronics in a more mobile manner. This leads to another set of puzzles requiring timely movement and careful navigation. Yellow handprints decorate areas throughout the game, among the other colors, to show where to grab things. This has led some speculation that a fourth yellow hand will be available later in the game at some point. Several quick horror segments need the player to keep a cool head as they navigate the dangers of various monstrous toys. This ranges from terrifying chase sequences through vents to playing statues while being followed through a play place. In Chapter 2, several children's games test the player in sequence. Each has deadly ramifications for losing. This section may have drawn inspiration from the globally popular series Squid Game. Poppy Playtime leans on the childhood horror aesthetic. This is often thought to have been popularized by the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. Bright color block decorations around the factory have aged with its desertion. Murals and posters of the toys serve as grim reminders of the monsters that lurk around each corner. The visuals are rendered in a beautiful, realistic style. The sound effects of the game are fantastic, lending to the realistic style of the game. Time has aged the audio from the VHSs, garbling it and lending to the perception of their abandoned form. The game is straightforward with specific goals and places the player is able to go. With the exceptions of speedrunning and in-game trophies, there is little replayability in Poppy Playtime. Mob Games is a game production branch of Enchanted Mob, a YouTube animation group. They own several channels that post voxel-based animations of popular characters. Such characters include those from Five Nights at Freddy's and Undertale. Alleged predatory contracts and withheld pay to the animators have led to negative backlash online. Coaster, an indie game developer, has also accused Mob Games of stealing major story points of their game, Venge. With the twisted childhood / play place nostalgia themes very popular now, it's hard to verify the validity of these claims. But Coaster and Enchanted Mob's rocky past put some doubt into the intentions of Mob Games. Several teen animators, including Coaster, have told stories of predatory exchanges with the mob. These minors were allegedly pushed into contracts that would give Enchanted Mob full rights to their animations. It would also bar them from creating on their own channels. Screenshots from these sources allege hostile language from the mob. This includes telling these kids they'll never amount to anything unless they join the mob. When Coaster refused the deal, he allegedly received more hostile remarks from its members. This even led up to a new channel created by Enchanted Mob targeting his animations many times. This channel, Animation Sins, continuously ripped at the teenage animators' videos. Some think that the channel's goal was to target animators who had refused contracts with the mob. The mob released a collection of Poppy Playtime NFTs that gave purchasers access to some lore of the game. Each digital collectible, a poster from the game, had the name and date released of the toy it depicted. Also, purchasers received access to a tape unique to each poster, each giving a handful of letters. If a buyer purchased all 6 tokens, they got an extra poster and tape. This tape gave the base template for the letter arrangement to form a sentence. This carried a hint as to the antagonist of the second chapter, saying, "Mommy Longlegs is coming." Many fans and outside observers were furious at this ploy. This was both at the use of NFTs and the price tag to unlock lore only useful before the reveal of Chapter 2's villain. NFTs are harmful to the environment due to their large consumption of energy to mint and verify. Each token came with the price tag of $14.99 US, meaning one had to spend $90 US to get full access to this one line of lore. Due to the quick mass commercialization of Poppy Playtime, some are wary of the mob. Many claim that the company doesn't want to make a good game, they only want to make a profit. Poppy Playtime is a breakout game that became incredibly popular, following in the footsteps of indie game predecessors like Five Nights at Freddy's. The title of indie game is debatable, however, due to the immense resources and advertising channels at the disposal of Mob Gaming and Enchanted Mob as a whole. As a game, it is well made and full of interesting puzzles, heart-pounding spooks, and chilling visuals. Whether you choose to support this game and its developers, however, is another question altogether.